look at the definition of self-centeredness.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká wo ìtumọ̀ ìmọ̀tara ẹni nìkan.
A self-centered person
Ẹni tó ní ìmọ̀tara ẹni nìkan,
is concerned solely
ó jẹ́ ẹni tí gbogbo nǹkan tí ó fẹ́,
with his own desires
òun ni nǹkan tí ó bá wù ní ọkàn,
and needs
àti àwọn ohun tí ó bá fẹ́,
and wants.
àti àwọn ohun tí ó fẹ́ ṣe.
He doesn't care about the other person.
Kò kí ń ronú nípa ti ẹnì kejì rẹ̀.
That is the definition of self-centeredness
Èyí ni ìtumọ̀ ẹni tó ní ìmọ̀tara ẹni nìkan,
or a self-centered person.
tàbí ẹni tó ní ìmọ̀tara ẹni nìkan.
You and I both know
Èmi àti wọ́n mọ̀ dáradára
where we are in what I refer to as the me generation.
wípé a wà ní ayé ìsìn tó jẹ́ ti ìpele kejì.
If you are about to do something for somebody,
Tí o bá fẹ́ ṣe ohunkóhun fún ẹnikẹ́ni,
or you want a favor from a person,
tàbí òun fẹ́ àánú láti ọ̀dọ̀ ènìyàn,
that person will ask you,
ẹni yẹn máa béèrè lọ́wọ́ rẹ wípé
what is in it for me?
kí ni nǹkan tí èmi náà máa jèrè nínú eléyìí.
Nobody wants to do things for anybody for free anymore.
Kò sẹ́ni tó fẹ́ ṣe ohun kankan fún ènìyàn ní ọ̀fẹ́ rárá.
That is why we tagged it as the me generation.
Èyí ni a ṣe ń pè ní àwọn ìran tí wọ́n ní ìwà búburú.
Now,
Nísinsìnyí,
I want us to look at 6 traits.
tí a bá dẹ̀ ń wo àwọn ohun tí wọ́n sọ,
Let's look at 6 traits
ẹ jẹ́ ká wo àwọn àmì,
of a self-centered person.
àwọn àmì tí ó máa ń farahàn lára ẹni tó bá ní ìmọ̀tara ẹni nìkan.
1,
Ìkíní,
they dominate conversations.
àwọn ni wọ́n máa ń fẹ́ borí ọ̀rọ̀ tí ènìyàn bá ń sọ.
They lack empathy.
Wọn ò kì í ní àánú rárá.
They only think about themselves.
Wọ́n kàn máa ń ronú nípa ara wọn nìkan.
When they do favors, they want something back in return.
Tí wọ́n bá ti ń ṣe oore, wọ́n máa ń fẹ́ gba nǹkan padà lẹ́yìn oore yìí.
They want things done their way.
Wọ́n máa ń fẹ́ kí ẹ ṣe ohun ní ọ̀nà ti tàwọn nìkan.
They always want to be the center of attention.
Wọ́n máa ń fẹ́ kí àwọn ènìyàn máa rí àwọn nìkan ṣáá.
Center of attention, center of attraction.
Wọ́n máa ń fẹ́ kí àwọn ènìyàn máa rí àwọn nìkan ṣáá.
That is who we refer to as a self-centered
Èyí
person.
ni à ń pè ní ẹni tó ní ìmọ̀tara ẹni nìkan.
Now,
Nísinsìnyí,
we understand that we were all born out of sin,
ó yé wa pé a bí wa láti inú ẹ̀ṣẹ̀.
but we must overcome the self-centered spirit.
Ṣùgbọ́n a ní láti borí ẹ̀mí ìmọ̀tara ẹni nìkan.
How do we overcome this self-centered spirit?
Báwo la ṣe fẹ́ borí ẹ̀mí ìmọ̀tara ẹni nìkan?
Because there are 3 components
Nítorí àwọn ohun mẹ́ta ni ó wà
that we must be aware of.
tí a gbọ́dọ̀ máa kíyèsí.
If I ask us now, who are Christians here?
Wọ́n lè
Everybody will
béèrè
put up
lọ́wọ́ wa
their
pé
hands.
ta ni Kìrìsìtẹ́nì ní bí gbogbo ènìyàn máa náwó rẹ̀ sókè.
But for me,
Ṣùgbọ́n fún èmi,
I have 2 definitions of Christians.
mo ní ìtumọ̀ Kìrìsìtẹ́nì méjì.
One is
Àkọ́kọ́ ni pé
the first kind of Christian that we know of
àwọn Kìrìsìtẹ́nì tí a mọ̀ dáradára.
is the one that if I come to you, sir, are you a Christian or a Muslim? You say I'm a Christian.
Òun ni a máa wá ń bá wípé ṣé Kìrìsìtẹ́nì ni ọ́ ni àbí Mùsùlùmí wà ní Kìrìsìtẹ́nì ni
But
mí.
he's bearing that just as a Christian. That's all.
Ṣùgbọ́n ó kàn ń jẹ ní ẹnu lásán ni.
Nothing else.
Kò sí ohun míì mọ́.
The other one is what I refer to as
Ìkejì ni èyí tí a pè ní
practicing Christian.
ẹni tí ó ń ṣe ìṣe Kìrìsìtẹ́nì.
Because that person,
Nítorí pé ẹni tí a ń sọ yìí
the definition of a Christian,
ní ìtumọ̀ ẹni tó jẹ́ Kìrìsìtẹ́nì.
you must live a Christ-like life.
O ní láti gbé ìgbé ayé bíi ti Kristi.
Now,
Nísinsìnyí,
the question we have to ask ourselves is this:
ìbéèrè tí a fẹ́ bi ara wa léèrè ni wípé
are we living that Christian life?
ǹjẹ́ à ń gbé ìgbé ayé bíi ti Kìrìsìtẹ́nì?
We were saved out of love.
A lè sọ eléyìí nípa ti ìfẹ́, a gbà wá là nípa ìfẹ́.
Since we were saved out of love,
Nítorí pé a ti gbà wá là nípa ìfẹ́,
we must show love to our brothers and sisters.
a ní láti fi ìfẹ́ hàn fún àwọn ẹ̀gbọ́n wa àti àwọn àbúrò wa.
If we look at the second lesson that was read,
Tí a bá wo inú ìwé lẹ́sìn kejì wa lónìí,
that's Luke chapter 10.
ìwé tí a dárúkọ yìí,
Luke chapter 10, and look at it from verse 30 to
ìwé
37.
ìrere ti Lúùkù
The second lesson we read. The story of the
ìwé ìrere
Samaritan.
ti Lúùkù orí kẹwàá.
Now, if we go through that story,
Tí a bá wo ìtàn yìí dáradára,
we realize that a man got injured by thieves.
a máa rí i pé wọ́n pa ọkùnrin kan lára, àwọn olè pa ọkùnrin kan lára.
The first person that came was a priest.
Ẹni àkọ́kọ́ tí ó wá, ó jẹ́ àlùfáà,
Did he help him?
kò ràn án lọ́wọ́.
The second person that came was the Levite.
Ẹni kejì tí ó wá jẹ́ ọmọ Léfì,
Did he help him?
ṣé ó ràn án lọ́wọ́? Kò ràn án lọ́wọ́.
The third person that came
Ẹni ìkẹta tí ó wá,
was the Samaritan.
ó wá jẹ́ ará Samaria.
Now,
Nísinsìnyí,
if I ask you out of those three,
tí má béèrè lọ́wọ́ rẹ pé nínú àwọn mẹ́ta yẹn,
who has the spirit of self-centeredness?
ta ló ní ẹ̀mí ìmọ̀tara ẹni nìkan?
I'm sure you should be able to tell me.
Ó yẹ kí a lè sọ eléyìí.
The Samaritan helped that person,
Ará Samaria yìí ran ẹni yìí lọ́wọ́.
and one of the ways we can overcome the spirit of self-centeredness is this,
Àwọn ọ̀nà kan tí a sì lè borí ìmọ̀tara ẹni nìkan ni.
is which we saw in that chapter that we are reading,
Òun ni èyí tí a ti rí nínú ìwé yẹn tí a sì kà.
that the Samaritan did.
Tí ará Samaria yìí ṣe,
He did not know the person,
kò mọ ẹni yìí rí,
but helped him,
ṣùgbọ́n ràn án lọ́wọ́.
took care of him,
Ó tọ́jú rẹ̀.
took him to the inn,
Ó tún wá gbé lọ sí ilé èrò.
and said whatever extraordinary expenses that he occurs, he will pay for it.
Ó tún wá sọ wípé gbogbo àwọn ohun tó kù lẹ́yìn rẹ̀ òun á san.
That shows that Samaritan does not have the spirit of self-centeredness.
Èyí ni wípé ará Samaria yẹn kò ní ìmọ̀tara ẹni nìkan.
Now,
Nísinsìnyí,
that is how do we now overcome that spirit of
báwo
self-centeredness?
la ṣe lè borí ẹ̀mí ìmọ̀tara ẹni nìkan?
But let's be realistic here.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká mọ eléyìí dájúdájú.
A lot of us have that spirit of self-centeredness.
Púpọ̀ nínú wa ló ní ẹ̀mí ìmọ̀tara ẹni nìkan.
Unless, of course, we are going to lie to each other.
Àfi tí a bá fẹ́ máa purọ́ tan ara wa jẹ ló kù.
One of the ways
One of the ways
that we can overcome that spirit
ìkànnú ọ̀nà tí a fi lè borí ẹ̀mí yìí,
is what I refer to as
òun ni èyí tí bàbá wa pè ní
building strong relationships.
wípé kí a máa mọ ìbáṣepọ̀ tó dánmọ́rán.
Having strong relationships.
Kí a máa mọ ìbáṣepọ̀ tó dánmọ́rán.
Helping your brother or your sister.
Láti máa ran àwọn ará wa lọ́wọ́.
It is important that we help one another.
Èyí ṣe kókó pé kí a máa ran ara wa lọ́wọ́.
I don't need to know you
Mi ò nílò láti mọ̀ ọ́
to help you.
láti ràn ọ́ lọ́wọ́.
And I don't need to think that I'll get something back in return to help you.
Kò dẹ̀ yẹ kí n rò wípé mo ní nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ gbà padà tí n bá ràn ọ́ lọ́wọ́.
If you cultivate this kind of attitude,
Tí a bá ti ní ìwà yìí nínú wa,
you can balance that self-centeredness in your spirit.
a lè ṣe eléyìí dáradára.
Because it tells us that
Nítorí pé ó sọ fún wa wípé
in the book of John 3:16, it tells us that we
nínú
are...
ìwé Jòhánù,
John 3:16.
ìwé Jòhánù orí ìkẹta,
John 3:16 says,
ó sọ wípé
Christ came to us to wipe away our sins.
Kristi wá sí ọ̀dọ̀ wa láti nu gbogbo ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wa nù kúrò.
And God did this out of love.
Ọlọ́run dẹ̀ ṣe eléyìí nínú ìfẹ́.
And even if we know that the greatest commandment is love.
A dẹ̀ tún wá mọ̀ wípé òfin tí ó ga jù òun ni ìfẹ́.
Now,
Nísinsìnyí,
God has showed us love.
Ọlọ́run ti fi ìfẹ́ hàn wá.
So we in turn must show love to our fellow brothers and
Àwa
sisters.
náà ní láti fi ìfẹ́ hàn sí àwọn ará wa.
How are you going to show that love?
Báwo ló ṣe fẹ́ fi ìfẹ́ yìí hàn?
That's the question.
Èyí ni ìbéèrè.
The only way you can show that love
Ọ̀nà kan ṣoṣo tí o lè fi ìfẹ́ yìí hàn,
is helping your brother or your sister.
òun ni láti ran àwọn ará rẹ lọ́wọ́.
You must take it as that whatever you can do to yourself, you must be able to do to the other
A ní
person.
láti mọ̀ wípé ohun tí a bá ti lè ṣe fún ara wa ni a máa ṣe fún àwọn ará wa tó kù.
That is very, very important.
Èyí jẹ́ kókó.
Another way is this:
Ọ̀nà mìíràn tún ni eléyìí.
our spiritual well-being.
òun ni bí a ṣe ń dàgbà sí nínú ẹ̀mí.
How are you taking care of your spiritual well-being?
Báwo ni o ṣe ń dàgbà sí nínú ẹ̀mí?
You must read the Bible often.
O ní láti máa ka Bíbélì rẹ dáradára.
You must pray often.
O ní láti máa gbàdúrà nígbà gbogbo.
These are areas that you can kill that spirit of
Èyí
self-centeredness.
ni àwọn ọ̀nà tí o lè fi pa ẹ̀mí ìmọ̀tara ẹni nìkan.
It's very, very important.
Ó jẹ́ pàtàkì.
The other way of killing that spirit of
Ọ̀nà
self-centeredness,
tí a lè fi borí ẹ̀mí ìmọ̀tara ẹni nìkan yìí.
I tagged it, the second way, I tagged it as give yourself away.
Òun ni pé kí a fi ọ̀nà fún ara wa.
Give yourself away.
Kí a fi ọ̀nà fúnra wa.
Now,
Nísinsìnyí,
if I ask us in this church,
tí n bá béèrè lọ́wọ́ wa nínú ìjọ yìí,
how many people volunteer their services to God?
ènìyàn mélòó ló ń fi iṣẹ́ rẹ̀ sílẹ̀ fún Ọlọ́run?
You must give back to God.
O ní láti dá padà fún Ọlọ́run.
How are you giving back to God?
Báwo lo ṣe ń dá padà fún Ọlọ́run?
I want you to catch this.
Mo fẹ́ kó o gba eléyìí.
The money that you have,
Owó tí o ní,